Alright, listeners, welcome back to Kanpai Japan, a podcast about Japan. Here's my co-host, Tokyo Fun Hunter, Ryan.
Oh my god, I got my whole name in there, Mike. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you, Mark.
Yep.
This is Ryan, the Tokyo Fun Hunter. If I use my cool name.
Yeah. And I go by Paul's Balls. So, alright. So,
what's your Vine? What's that one? What's your Vine address again? That was hilarious. Alright. Off subject.
Alright. So last episode we talked about TV shows, game shows, and karaoke. And we'll do the same sort of thing.
We did.
Each have a topic to talk about.
Yeah.
That we don't know about. So,
yeah.
So Ryan, what is your topic?
Oh, we're doing mine first? You know what? I was gonna I know we're way too. This is like our second thing, and we're already tackling like the crazy topics. You know what? I was gonna say social media and dating in Japan.
Oh, that's a big topic. All right.
Yeah, this is it. Mark did not know I was gonna think this. It was kind of on the fly. I don't know. I was kind of thinking. You know, the rise of social media these days, and this is probably a reason why maybe some of you are listening to us, is because like now social media, you have access to a worldwide platform, as well as people in Japan, you see it revolutionizing the way people interact at a much major scale. Of course, it is worldwide, but in Japan, where everybody's a little bit more passive than... I'm from California, people are way more outgoing. People in Japan are very passive, and now they're meeting up. They're kind of opening their doors through social media in a different way, where meetup.com is one of the biggest things, where people are now meeting new friends. You see the rises of a lot of dating apps out there. You know, Tinder. Tinder's a big thing in California, but also in Japan. So I kind of wanted to comment on that, because you see a very new side of the revolution, where it is now the common thing.
Yeah, it's also a good way to avoid expensive cell phone plans, because they don't have the unlimited data plan. So they use like Line, and they use Facebook Messenger, which I'm sure they do back in the States too, but it's very prevalent here, just because cell phone companies here are kind of rip-offs.
You know, do you mind if I say real quick about social media, something in Japan that you probably do not know? There's actually more platforms than people are aware of. So like back in the States, what do we got? Google Plus, we got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got
FaceTime.
We got WhatsApp. Does anybody use FaceTime?
I don't think that's
WhatsApp. And in Japan, actually, everything is controlled by one platform called Line. It's about 50%. Half the population uses Line as it's kind of like Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp combined into one.
Yeah, and
Uber as well. It's like all of them are combined into Line.
So if you are going to Japan, I highly recommend you and people you want to talk to back home download Line, because it's a free way to call back home, which is something that didn't exist.
Definitely download it before you get here, because it is one of those things like, you know how the term was like, oh, you want to connect with Facebook, and people actually here connect with Line. That's the way that they stay in touch. I don't know. I prefer Facebook because I know who I'm talking to. In Line, sometimes people put pictures of like cartoons instead of like as their profile, instead of the picture of who they are, and so it's hard to keep track of everybody.
So, do you want to go through the different apps? And
I was gonna say like
so I can talk about some really crappy ones.
Sure. Go for it.
Have you ever used Scout?
I have. I'll be honest. I have.
So Scout.
Don't judge me too harshly. So my experience. So right now, in the last kind of getting into my dating life, I've dated Japanese girls. I've dated some very beautiful, fun women, and basically like I've gone through my single periods as well. So for me, on relationships, when I'm single, I like to go party. I like to go clubbing. I like to meet new people all the time. I'm a very social person. But then when I'm in a relationship, I'm in that relationship.
So you turn Scout off.
I do. I think recently, I'm recently single. It's a shame. The girl I was dating about a month ago, she was actually not Japanese. She was Spanish. she ran out of her visa and had to leave Japan. And so it's not like a bad thing. It wasn't anything bad. But obviously, of course, then I re-log into my account and I'm like, okay. Yeah, then you get all the messages and notifications and stuff like that. So I have used Scout in the past.
The thing I hate about Scout is I had it for like a week, and I had probably like over 150 like messages from... I'm not even sure if they were actually people. They were just like a picture of a hot woman and then just hundreds of text messages like, oh yeah, you should come hang out sometime. I think it's very predatory.
Yeah, it's pretty predatorial. Yeah. There's a few big ones out there. Right now, of course, the biggest hot topic is Tinder. I think that's the newest social app that's actually become more normalized. It's now like the norm. And it was amazing to me because I went back to California recently for Christmas. I see family and friends, at least once or twice a year. And I go to this one bar, see some old friends who brought their friends, and they were chatting about Tinder. Everybody had a Tinder story. Multiple Tinder stories.
Yeah.
In Japan, nobody talks about it, but everybody does it. They do. Trust me, they do. I've caught so many people have Tinder on their phones.
Yeah, so I came to Japan single, and so I was on Tinder for a little bit. Do you have any advice for Tinders?
I do have some advice for Tinder.
I do too. So
I have advice for Tinder.
Compare.
I have advice for Tinder, and then I have advice for Tinder in Japan, and some overlap and some are different. So why don't you talk about? I want to hear yours first.
All right,
okay?
This is what you need for Tinder.
All right,
you want?
We're talking about this.
All right, if you have a beach body, which I don't. Have a picture at the beach, just whatever. You also want a picture of you with your family. Shows the girls that, you have a heart, that, you are open to relationships outside of just hooking up.
Just to give a visual of Mark's body type, he's a 7 foot tall, the giant of a man that, anybody who's Japanese is like 4 foot tall. It's like, holy.
Because Tinder isn't just for hooking up. People are looking to have relationships.
Yeah. People are using it nowadays for friends, for business now also.
So yeah. You have a picture that says, I like to party, and you have a picture that says, I also am a family man deep down at heart.
Yes.
That's my advice.
Show your sensitive.
And I used it for about 2 weeks before I met my wife, and then not on Tinder, but yeah.
Okay.
So that's all I got for Tinder.
Ooh, I'm gonna. I might as well just leave in there since we've already talked about this. So a little thing about right now what I do. Since I'm doing my rafting stuff, but also I do digital strategy and digital recruitment for major companies, major healthcare companies actually. And so we actually talk about brand marketing. And what I would recommend for Tinder is kind of like, if I could share some strategies. On Tinder, you have like 1 second to make an impact, right? People, it's either you swipe left or you swipe right. You have 1 second, less than half a second to make an impact. So your profile photo has to make an impact. It has to make an impact. I would definitely recommend something that captures the audience. Okay? I mean, you be the judge. It's good to have a fun, engaging photo of you doing something really cool.
So mine was a picture of me and Suge Knight.
Okay.
Who is probably in jail for murder. He was the producer for Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. Mine is I've experimented with 2 different ones. I have one, and don't steal this idea because I'm really worried about putting this online. One is basically me, like my Facebook profile photo of me at the beach, like having a great time. It shows me in my element, having fun with friends. But also then I have 6 photos that people can, if they wanted to actually push on it and see the rest of my thing. It shows different varieties of my life. It shows me with my brother. It shows me with friends. It shows me with other girls that are comfortable being around me. So it shows different aspects of life, me as an adventurer, and me in my work area, and me with my social life. So kind of like 6 amazing photos that really capture the essence of who I am. Because it is like a photo dating type of service.
Yeah. Are we done advertising for Tinder?
Well, yeah, I know. So we should call it Tinder. We should call it Tinder. Say like, hey man,
Tinder pie.
You want some money here? And then there's of course like nowadays you can actually connect with your Instagram, and it's connected to your Facebook. So in the description, yeah, actually. So if you're which is, I know, it's too much info sometimes. I actually don't do that. A lot of people do. I actually don't recommend to. I don't need the people I just met.
You never cross streams.
But something I would recommend for Japan at least, basically tell them exactly why you're on it. Don't leave that description blank. Tell them like, hey, I'm here checking out new friends. Something a little bit about something unique about you. As well as, if you can, I would recommend adding some, if you know Japanese or are learning Japanese, put in a little like, Nihongo ganbarimasu, or Nihongo wa renshu shitai. Like something in Japanese that shows like, I speak English fluently, but also I speak a little bit of Japanese, and I'm interested in like maybe connecting with those type of people. And put it simple but all out there at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, so there's my tips.
In full disclosure, I've had zero success on Tinder, but I'm married now, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Shit, man, I don't want to sound bad. In full disclosure, I had much success on Tinder. 溝の中を探してみても何も見つからなかったけど針を落としてみたら僕は踊り出していた
Alright, we ready for my topic?
We are. Go for it.
Alright. So I want to talk about bidets. And
You've been planning this, haven't you?
No,
he's rubbing his hands and he says it. He's like, oh, bidets.
Alright, so bidets are an essential part of living in Japan. It is a huge luxury.
You need to know this.
In fact, alright, so for Christmas this year, or actually it was last year because I knew I was going home for the summer. You know what I got my parents?
A bidet.
I got my parents a bidet because
I didn't transport that.
Because I was going home for 2 weeks and I knew I did not want to live without a bidet. And so...
All right, I've been here for like 8 years and I'm still like, I don't care about the bidet that much. I don't need it that bad.
Alright, so let's say someone throws a piece of dog poop at you and you catch it with your hand. How are you going to wash your hands?
Well, thank God, I don't have a dog. I love dogs, but... Alright, if I was going to wash my hands, I think I'd use this sink.
You'd use the sink?
Well, not like my kitchen sink, but I go to the bathroom sink.
And you would use water and soap, right?
I'd use water and soap to wash it off.
So that's all I'm saying. I'm not going to go any more in depth than that, but I'm saying that is why bidets are an essential part of just normal hygiene. And the fact that America has
but you're not soaping your ass.
Yeah, but you're using water.
Yeah,
and that is like 100 times more clean than just wiping.
Have you ever used the 3 seashells?
I don't know.
You know that reference?
I don't
know. Demolition Man?
I don't.
He doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells.
And so, you know how much money you save on toilet paper if you have a bidet?
Yeah, how much water you waste on your ass?
I wouldn't say you're wasting it, though. That's the thing, is that it's very important.
So just in case our audience does not know, the Japanese toilet is actually like... I've seen whole TV episodes of like lifestyle in Japan, culture in Japan, based on just the toilet. There was seriously a segment where people like have decked out. It's like, how like maybe people like deck out their cars. They pimp my ride. They pimp my apartment, right? People pimp their toilets. They have amazing toilets, and there's like 100 different buttons on a toilet. I mean, don't worry about it too much. It's still the simple flush, but there's a bunch of things where there's different sounds. There's different things for washing different parts of your body, whether you're a guy or a girl.
So there's a button. So there's basically a controller for every toilet. Yeah. And, some toilets have like a button you can push for like music to play while you're in there.
There's also a fake flush, just in case you want to like I don't know, fart or drop a deuce or something.
In case someone's trying to murder you and you're trying to throw them off your timing.
In case somebody like wants that like background music. There's a fake flush sound.
Yeah. There's also...
we all know the fake flush sound, so I don't know why anybody would use it. It's like, we know that guy's like trying to hide something.
Some electronic flush music.
Yeah.
But I think that toilets in Japan are one of the more advanced things that Japan has on America. I think that if I was president for a day, I would make it mandatory in America that every house that I'm going to ever go into is going to have a bidet.
Now, frankly, so this is where me and Mark differ. I don't use the bidet that much or ever. I think I've used it like twice, and it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, of course, when you first get to Japan, give it a try. I tried it, and I was like, whoa! You know, I think even my dad tried it like a year. My parents came to Japan. I took them around to a lot of different areas, you know, as a big thing. And even like my dad was like, I'll give it a shot, but I don't think I could ever commit to it. I'm still a fan of the paper.
I use it twice every time I go to the bathroom.
Oh my god. Well, I don't know if we're going to gain a large audience with this segment about us wiping our asses.
Not wiping our asses.
Yeah. Anyway.
So you ready to wrap this episode up?
Think about, okay, so like if you are traveling or living in Japan, don't be too intimidated by the Japanese toilet, because like you see it, you're going to be like, holy shit, there's like 100 buttons on this thing. What do I do? There's still the basic flush. I use the basic flush. That's all I need.
There's also very descriptive pictures on the buttons.
There is very descriptive pictures.
If you are confused about which one to push for the guy, it's a blue one with...
But one thing, like, I think I've seen a few Japanese stand-up comics, and some of the things that you'll notice in Japan that I think you'll be actually like, this is awesome, is when you approach the toilet, it opens automatically, and when you leave, it closes automatically. It's a really cool, like, it's one of those little things in Japan that's actually like a signature of Japanese culture of being like very humble, very manneristic, very like bowing culture.
It bows to you when you leave.
It bows to you when you approach, and bows to you when you leave, and you're going to be a little like, whoa, this is awesome. I've never received this when I have to do this thing. But anyway, yeah, we can wrap it up at that point.
All right, so again, we are definitely looking forward to your feedback. kanpaijapan@gmail.com. Or hit us up on Twitter at...
I think we're 3 beers in.
We are 3 beers in.
We're 3 beers in. 3 tall beers in.
Anyway.
That's why it's called Kanpai Japan. This is pretty much us talking.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So also hit us up on Twitter at Kanpai Japan Pod.
Boom.
So a little bit different. Add a pod at the end. And if you do have the Twitter handle for at Kanpai Japan, let us know. Maybe we'll buy it from you. All right. You got anything to say?
Like I said in the last podcast, thank you guys so much for listening. We do appreciate it. Basically, like one of my main goals is that you take kind of our years and years and years of knowledge of Japan and being a foreigner and use it to your advantage. If you come over here or living over here, you follow this advice and you take the opportunities of having the most experience in Japan. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you guys again for listening, and please stay tuned for our further episodes.
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。はい。33回転溝の中を探してみても何も見つからなかったけど針を落としてみたら僕は踊り出していた